What's up, everybody, and welcome to the HPJP show. I'm one of your hosts, Josh, aka HexxedPhenom.
And I am making my return. I am JP.
If you guys missed it, JP couldn't make the last episode of Pizza and Pixels, our gaming podcast. Go check it out if you haven't already.
Oh man, it's been a struggle.
But we're finally back together for the HPJP show. And today, well, actually, first, this, if you didn't know, is the conversational podcast where myself and JP bring random topics of discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to youtube.com/HexxedPhenom. Subscribe there. Watch all our other content. We got Retro Redux. We've got Pizza and Pixels.
It's some good shit.
But, of course, you can also get this podcast as an MP3 on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, whatever really podcast service of your choosing. And that being said, today we're going to talk about a couple of different things, and the first thing we are going to talk about is our predictions for WWE Fastlane coming up next Sunday. What day is that?
Is it the 10th?
I think it's the...
Wait, because today is... We're filming on the 1st. Yeah, it's the 10th.
The 10th.
It is the 10th. Wow, I totally bullshitted that. It is the 10th.
So, today is March 1st. So, unfortunately, we don't have all of the matches in front of us, but we have a good idea of the card, plus like 2 unconfirmed matches that are basically bound to happen. So we have a pretty good idea of the card.
It's pretty easy, and I mean, Fastlane is basically just the make good pay-per-view of the year where they try to unfuck what they got themselves into the past year. So this is the time, and this is the card. I'm kind of curious what the hell is even on the card.
Well, speaking of which,
Kevin Owens is on it now, right? Oh yeah.
Right now, we're just going to go down the list. We have Daniel Bryan defending the WWE Championship against Kevin Owens.
Well, we already know that this is leading to a match at WrestleMania. So I'm going to say Daniel Bryan's going to probably retain by some random disqualification, I'm sure, and that'll set up WrestleMania. With or without Kofi, I have really no idea.
I honestly would really, as much as I love Kevin Owens, I honestly would rather see Daniel versus Kofi at WrestleMania.
I feel like... I'm ready for either match.
It wouldn't surprise me if they make it a triple threat match.
Yeah, I feel like they're just going to stack the card. But, I mean, I have a feeling Kevin Owens is going to walk away with the title at Mania because he just came back. And
that's true.
Why would they throttle him like that? So,
yeah.
We'll have to see. But, yeah, at Fastlane, I think Kevin Owens will probably win by, disqualification or something random. And Bryan will retain. Because, he has that eco-friendly championship. It is good for the universe. And clearly he smokes a lot of that hemp backstage, I'm sure.
Probably. But, yeah. I think Kevin Owens will probably, like you said, win by DQ.
Something screwy's probably
Bryan's going to retain. But, like I said, I think for Mania it would make the most sense if... It'll probably be a triple threat between Bryan, Owens, and Kofi, if I had to guess.
It's going to be a lot of triple threats at WrestleMania.
True. The next match is a rematch for the Smackdown Tag Team Championships. The Usos defending against Shane McMahon and The Miz. And I think this is pretty much just to set up for Shane and The Miz at Mania.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to see the turn. I don't know who's going to do it. I mean, practicality would have it. It would probably be The Miz. But yeah. I'm kind of hoping it's Shane just because he's a good heel or a good face either way. But
plus it would be the thing you wouldn't see coming. You would expect The Miz to turn.
Yeah, you're expecting The Miz, but we will definitely have that at WrestleMania, and by God, I cannot wait to see that in person, and I hope we have a Shane O'Mac spot.
Oh, I'm sure we will. I'm sure we will have many Shane O'Mac spots.
Oh, yeah!
The next one is the first Women's Tag Team Championship defense, the Boss and Hug Connection, defending against the Samoan Slaughterhouse, which I didn't even know that was their tag name, but that's Nia Jax and Tamina.
God, those 2 tag team names are atrocious. So Bayley and
Sasha versus Tamina and Nia Jax.
I am gonna say, realistically, I don't care about these titles, but realistically, I would like to say, I think Bayley and Sasha will retain, and I want to make a random prediction right now. At WrestleMania, Sasha and Bayley versus Trish Stratus and Lita for the tag team titles.
That would be awesome.
That would actually make people care about those titles. But I think Sasha and Bayley will win at Fastlane.
Yeah,
the Samoan Slaughter.
I saw some weird stat. I think they said something about it on Raw too. But apparently Sasha Banks has never successfully defended a title on the main roster.
She never has. And she was an animal in NXT, but that's the flow.
I feel like the reason that they're just randomly bringing that stat up is basically showing almost that she's gonna retain regardless. So.
Yep. So I think we may see history. Man, if that prediction comes true, I just made about Mania, I will lose my shit.
I mean, it's a pretty good prediction.
It's a very good spot on prediction because it would make people care about those titles.
I mean,
just for a little bit.
I appreciate that they're trying to do women's tag team championships, but I feel like there's not enough established tag teams in the women's division.
Honestly, what it reminds me of is, for many people that may have played this or not, so GM mode in the old games.
Yeah.
If you didn't have enough money to make tag teams, you would just have a tag team and put the belts on them. I feel like WWE's in that situation with the women's division.
Yeah, kind of.
But if they, call more people up, sign people from the Mae Young Classic, they could easily have at least like 8 teams across the rosters. I think right now they have 4, which is a very low number for a tag team universal championship. But yeah, gonna be interesting.
I mean, they had 6 teams in the Elimination Chamber, right? Yeah.
I think they barely got to 6.
Yeah, because
barely. That was all the teams they had out.
Naomi and Carmella wasn't a real team.
No, they just threw like 2 together, didn't they?
I don't remember what
they definitely threw 1 together though. They definitely
Naomi and Carmella was definitely thrown together.
So
I don't know. Nia Jax and Tamina, I think, were kind of together for a while before that. But...
the Samoan slaughterhouse. Ooh-ah!
And then the last confirmed match that we have is Asuka defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Mandy Rose.
I can't even believe that match is actually happening. I think Asuka's gonna win. I think it's safe to say she'll win.
I don't think Mandy Rose is ready for a title run.
I forget who the hell they were gonna say is gonna face her at WrestleMania. Well, rumored. Maybe I'll just pull it up real quick because I'm curious myself. Let's see here. She's gonna defend the title though.
I think Asuka versus Naomi would be a pretty good match. I don't know if Naomi's really... I haven't been watching SmackDown, so I don't really know what Naomi's been doing. But I don't know if she's, like, in contention for a title run, really.
Apparently there is an unexpected opponent that has been just revealed. Let's see. Lacey Evans. Well, that explains why she randomly took up no one's time at Elimination Chamber. So Lacey Evans is gonna apparently face Asuka at WrestleMania. So I don't know who Lacey Evans is. Do you know who?
I know she's from NXT.
She's from NXT.
I've never really watched any of her matches.
Yeah, I was gonna say I love NXT. I watch the takeovers. I can't watch the shows anymore. I kind of want to get back into it, but I guess that makes sense. So we're both gonna go with Asuka for the women's title match.
Yeah, definitely.
SmackDown women's title match. That is.
Mandy Rose. I would highly doubt that she's ready for a title run, in my opinion.
So those are the actual confirmed matches.
Yeah.
So I guess we could assume the other confirmed match will be a Raw Women's Championship match. Do you think that might be something with that title is going to happen on the show? I don't know if it's a match or a contract signing or something where they'll officially.
I don't think they're going to do.
You don't think they'll have the title on it?
I don't think they'll have a title match. I think they might have a contract signing with Charlotte, and then Becky Lynch will interfere.
Becky and Ronda will come out, and I'm sure that'll probably do something.
Yeah, so a contract signing at Fastlane wouldn't surprise me.
We'll see something crazy at Fastlane with that title.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they do that last year for Ronda's match at Mania? The contract signing with Triple H and Stephanie, wasn't that at Fastlane?
I'm pretty sure, and and then the next night she put Triple H through a table.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And
so I would think a Raw Women's Championship WrestleMania match contract signing that Becky will no doubt interfere with and probably sign her name on it, making it a triple threat.
Yeah. So that is probably how this will happen. There will be a time slot for it, and then there is the Shield reunion tag team match, which will happen.
I would say that that's like almost guaranteed at this point because if Dean Ambrose really is leaving, which I think at this point he is.
I don't even know. I feel here's the weird part with Dean Ambrose. His contract expires at WrestleMania, so they could do a switcheroo like CM Punk and Money in the Bank where they appeal to him and they make him sign a last minute deal.
Yeah.
So maybe them actually doing the Ambrose character in a way people want it to go and he does, maybe he'll be like, you know what? If you guys do this, that, and this for me, I'll sign a contract for like 3 years. Yeah. And I feel like maybe it could be a up in the air thing at WrestleMania where no one says anything and then he does something really huge at WrestleMania. Yeah. Maybe. But this match will definitely happen.
At least for right now, assuming they don't already have a deal laid out with him, this would be his second to last pay-per-view match. So I couldn't see them not doing a Shield reunion, even though it completely ruins the storylines they had between each other with the him turning heel and everything.
Yeah, his character just got debauched, which is why I think he wanted to leave. So I think now that they're booking him right, they might actually be able to get a deal with him if they really want it, because they know if he doesn't sign, he's going to AEW. I mean, their first pay-per-view was in his hometown.
Yeah.
That he's actually living in, I should say, not hometown. His current town of Las Vegas, so.
Well, the thing with Dean Ambrose is like, you could kind of tell that they rushed the whole, like, him turning heel thing along.
So what happened with the gas mask?
I have no idea. I honestly haven't watched an episode of Raw other than I watched the beginning of this past Raw with Roman Reigns talking about being in remission from leukemia. But other than that, I couldn't tell you the last time I actually watched a Raw or SmackDown.
Which then people had the audacity to think that WWE planned an angle around leukemia.
Oh yeah, that it was a work or whatever.
Yes, and if you're one of those
WWE,
people,
obviously they'll do a work and be like, oh, he broke his arm or he, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, leukemia.
But WWE's not stupid enough to be like, oh, he had cancer.
Yeah, I mean, it's just for whoever the hell believes that. It's just clearly they live in a delusional world. Because I mean, why would you say someone has cancer?
Even in
say nope, I'm good.
Yeah, even in the Attitude Era, that would have been going too far.
Exactly, and well, in the Attitude Era, we got to see Brian Pillman fire a gun to Stone Cold, so
yeah,
it got pretty insane there, and they would never go near leukemia, or cancer. Should be very
especially with how much work that they do with like all these different cancer like nonprofits and stuff like Susan G. Komen, the Connor's Cure, like all these different things.
Yeah, I think if they did that, if they did make a storyline, they would lose all of their sponsors. They would
lose so much.
It would be so
much money. I'm sure they would get sued.
They lose their credibility, and I'm sure a lot of the roster would probably be like, I don't want to work for you guys.
Yeah.
The interesting part is, I don't think Roman Reigns is 100%. Because after doing that, there's no way in hell he would be that soon. But, I don't like the Roman Reigns character, but I can respect the guy.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see him back, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
Well, 100%. I mean, he doesn't have much of a character, per se, but just the way he was booked for a while, it was...
He was Superman.
Basically,
he was John Cena 2.0.
Yeah, he was John Cena 2.0. Honestly, that's what he was.
Yeah, if they just book him like a real person, just Joseph Anoa'i, whatever you want to say, I think he'll get a lot more cred than what he was before.
I think what WWE doesn't realize is in the era of like just about everybody realizes now.
The reality era?
Yeah. I mean, that's really what it is.
That's really what this era is now.
Social media is so prevalent nowadays that kayfabe is dead, essentially. And I mean, so there's no point in, booking someone like how Cena was booked through the 2000s because now everybody knows.
That was the aggression era, and then he became utterly annoying.
Yeah, because I mean, now in the age of social media, it's like...
You know what they're doing.
Yeah, you know what they're doing.
And I gotta admit, did you see the recent thing Ronda Instagram tweeted?
Oh yeah, Ronda and Becky Lynch doing the back
arm,
and forth then, on Twitter.
And then she's like, "Yeah, you're grabbing that arm like the dick you wish you had." I was like, "Whoa!"
Did you see Becky Lynch's reply to that?
I didn't. What the hell did she say? What did the man say?
I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like,
"Oh God!"
It was like, "Oh, you mean like this or whatever?" And it was a picture of. It was the same picture that Ronda sent to her of Becky doing like the armbar on her, but Becky Lynch had somebody Photoshop
a dick into it.
No, it was.
I would have lost her.
Ronda Rousey's husband or whatever. It was like his face on her arm or whatever.
Dude, this storyline is going so well. I don't even give a shit if it's a triple threat or if it's Ronda and Becky. You know,
I would much
they're
rather
gonna
it be just
murder each other.
one-on-one because I feel like, I mean, especially with all the shit they're going through on Twitter, like Charlotte's just like kind of off in her own corner, like nobody even cares about her.
I really feel like it's...
The sad part is like I feel like the only, sorry to cut you off, but I feel like the only reason she was even inserted in the match is just so
she could take the fall.
Well, not only that, but it's just so that people could be like, because Charlotte is just like the John Cena of the women's division.
Yes.
And so that everyone could just be like, oh, Charlotte was a part of the first ever women's main event match at WrestleMania. Like, here, look, Charlotte did this. Like,
well, ironically then, because I went to WrestleMania 32, and that was when they had Becky, Sasha, and Charlotte, and that was another historical match, because that was the first match for the new women's title that Lita then gave to the winner. And I could see it. I really think she's in the match just to take the fall because I don't think Rousey's going to lose.
What's going to happen?
That's going to open up a new feud.
I mean, technically she'll lose the title, but she won't have been pinned or submitted or anything.
Yes, yeah.
And then whenever the hell the superstar shakeup is, or whatever the hell it's called now, she'll get switched over to SmackDown and then win the SmackDown Women's Championship at the next pay-per-view, and then go on undefeated in SmackDown forever the hell long.
Yeah. So essentially, I think they're kind of booking Rousey like Brock Lesnar.
Pretty much.
Except Rousey's a hell of a lot more entertaining, and she knows how to wrestle. I mean, Brock did years ago. Now he just does suplexes, so. He used to be a really damn good wrestler on the map, but...
I honestly think, at this point, he's just like, I'm making so much money just doing this that I don't even need to care to, like, do anything else.
Exactly. Like, Brock Lesnar could walk in and literally, somehow... Even in the most unwinnable situation, he will still walk away the winner in some kind of way.
Yeah.
Like, he's already done it, like, 10 times already on his current run. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. But, so when it comes down to the Shield match, obviously, the Shield's probably going to win that match, the tag team match at Fastlane.
So do you have any possible predictions on who they're going to face? Because I don't know. They just did something where Roman and Seth came out and helped Dean, but who was that against?
I want to say it was probably Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, or something like that. Because
in that case, I would think the match might end up being...
I have a feeling it's probably...
It'll be the Shield versus Lashley, McIntyre, and Corbin.
Or Corbin, yeah. Because the thing is that WrestleMania, they're looking at doing... I think it's Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. So you know Drew's going to be in this tag team match. I mean, it wouldn't make sense to just book a match last minute for Mania with Roman, but so the Shield would definitely come out on top. Yeah. And I'm sure 205 Live will have their match at Fastlane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who it's going to be because I don't watch 205 Live, so I don't know what current rivalries they're working or whatever, but regardless, I'm sure Buddy Murphy's going to retain.
Buddy Murphy's going to retain. So I don't think we really
I think if Buddy Murphy does lose the title, it wouldn't be until Mania anyway.
I have a feeling...
I don't know who he would lose to, but...
I have a feeling at Mania that we're going to see like a 6-man ladder match or something for that title.
Dude, that'd be so dope.
They always do
Could you imagine
match at Mania. I think it's going to happen this year.
The Cruiserweights in a ladder match for the Cruiserweight title. That'd be dope.
I think it's going to happen, man.
And the sad part is... The sad part is that I'm sure it'll still be on the pre-show, even though it'll be like a 6-man ladder match for the Cruiserweight title.
Probably.
And it'll probably be like the match of the night.
I hope to God that at least for one pay-per-view, they put 205 on the main show. Because, I mean, 205 can outstage more than half the main roster. People just don't give it a chance until they see it. And then they're like, whoa, man. So, yeah, I hope that ladder match happens on the main card.
One thing that I'm not sure if they're going to, quote-unquote, blow their load on it yet, but I kind of want to see if any of the 4 NXT call-ups are going to be part of Fastlane or not.
All I know is I'm glad it's coming down that Triple H has more pull with what's happening because Vince McMahon ruins NXT. The NXT people, because that's why I'm looking forward to when Vince steps down because it's going to be a new generation, and I think WWE will be just as good as it was in the early 2000s.
I mean, how many people came up from like NXT recently? Within the past couple years that are actually being utilized to their full potential. Like, almost no one.
To tell you the truth, I don't think anybody's even hit the brass ring from NXT directly being called up. Like I would say Seth Rollins and stuff, but they didn't make NXT to be this big thing back when they came in Survivor Series 2012. So, yeah.
I'd say the
closest, I think, I would probably say it would have been Lars Sullivan, but he decided to have a panic attack because he would have faced John Cena at WrestleMania. I don't know if that's still going to happen. John Cena has a match at Mania, though. So, from NXT directly being called up, dead serious. I don't think anybody has even hit the main event.
I'd say
maybe Rusev, maybe.
I was gonna say the closest for a while was Finn Balor until he got injured at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I'd say Finn.
And then
Balor
they pushed him down to the mid card, and that's been it for him.
Man, we got to see him win that title, and that one day he had that fucking title.
It makes me so happy, but so sad at the same time because Finn Balor is one of my favorites right now.
It makes me so happy because we got to see history and all, but it makes me sad because Finn got injured, but the belt looks like absolute trash.
I remember how hard we were booing the belt.
The fucking boos in that building, dude, they could not edit it out enough. It was like me at 32 when Roman finally won the match that we knew he was going to win for like 6 months before.
Yeah.
And everybody was just... The boos were so loud that they couldn't even edit them out. And then there was Mick Foley Mick Foley lost his shit. Oh, man. Yeah, Finn Balor was that guy.
I just remember there was like a section in the arena, like kind of like around where we were, because we were
remember
up
the
in
drunk
like
guy that fell down the stairs.
Yeah, that's a different story for a different time. But I remember what people would be looking up at like the screens that was actually showing like the TV feed, and whenever they would like camera cut to show the title, everyone would just start booing.
I'm dead serious. Anytime anybody referenced that title, showed that title, said the words Universal Championship, ooh, and just echoed throughout the fucking Barclays Center. I was like, wow.
The sad part is like, I wonder if like Seth and Finn realized what was going on. They're just like, well, why the fuck are they booing us all of a sudden?
Oh, I'm sure they knew. Honestly, deep down inside, if I was in that match, I'd be like, wow, this title is garbage, but this is an accolade for my career.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I just think it's dumb that all of the world titles all look exactly the same, just like different colored straps, basically.
Yep. Yep. You know what? Yep. The only title I can honestly say that looks different is Daniel Bryan's hemp title.
Well, yeah, now.
It is the only title.
But even still, it's the same
shape.
It's just made out of like wood and
wood, hemp, whatever he smokes backstage. I just love how as soon as Daniel Bryan brought the title out, I'm like, if they're gonna say anything, now's the time. And AJ Styles goes, so, were you smoking some of that backstage or what? He just leveled them. Oh, they need to make titles that look different. I'm sure that'll be the next generation, which is probably coming in a few years. But for right now, wait, do the women's tag team titles look anything like those belts?
No,
yeah, because they look different. I think Triple H had the head in that design, though.
Probably.
Anything
Triple H or Stephanie.
I noticed that anything modern day Vince McMahon calls is the worst call ever. Essentially, it's sad. That's why I can't wait to see Triple H.
I wonder if they're gonna. I mean, I don't know if Fox really has any say in it, but I wonder if Fox has any say in them changing the title designs when SmackDown goes over to Fox.
I know for a fact they don't want any comedy. They want reality. So I can see 2019 is going to be a very interesting year in WWE. I think it's going to be really weird
to see how SmackDown turns out compared to Raw, because I feel like they're going to end up being two very different products. I wonder how that's going to work out.
They honestly, I really just hope Triple H has the ball once that happens, because they know how to book a show. I mean, and then there's Vince McMahon. It's like, Vince, we want this new guy to be a front runner for this championship, and then Vince will be like, nah, I can't see it. And he shoots it down. And literally that person could be Alistair Black, Finn Balor. It could be, it could be like Ciampa. It could be Johnny Wrestling. Like, they're all people that are believable. Yeah. But Vince just looks at him and he's like, that's not my creation. It's like he looks at them like WCW. That's not my brand. Yeah,
just like how they buried Sting
just how they
at
buried
WrestleMania
it.
31 or whatever.
Yep, and Vince McMahon made that call too. And then Vince McMahon also made the call to have the Hell in a Cell match with Undertaker and Shane McMahon go on before Roman Reigns and Triple H. And that's
God.
like the third time Vince has actually screwed Triple H at WrestleMania. Because I remember it happened at WrestleMania 25 with Randy Orton. It happened at 27 with The Undertaker. Happened at 32 with the Hell in a Cell match. Like, could you imagine if they ended that pay-per-view with Shane jumping off the cell and just being carted out in the ambulance like this?
Yeah.
That would have been the greatest ending, though, at WrestleMania in a long time. But, yeah, Vince needs to definitely go somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know.
It should be interesting. Like, this year, I think, has all the telltale signs to be that year that people will be like, yo, 2019 was the year they turned it around. This past few years, it's been cookie cutter besides a few pay-per-views here and there.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I know we've kind of deviated far from the whole Fastlane predictions thing. We're just kind of talking general stuff now, but...
Well, I mean, technically, it has a theme. We're kind of talking about Mania and Fastlane and the product.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good time to push people in the WrestleMania.
Regardless, it's a great conversation we're having, so we'll roll with it.
Damn right. We're going to roll with this.
I mean, this will be controversial for some people, but honestly,
Again,
after
what isn't
Mania...
controversial anymore?
After Mania, I hope Lesnar just goes away, like, for a long time. Or forever. I really don't care.
Or forever.
Because...
I just like a episode.
I respect that he was a UFC fighter, all that. That's cool. So, yeah, it makes sense in reality that he could probably beat just about everybody's ass in the locker room.
Yep.
Safe from the other people that actually did UFC.
Yes.
Or MMA, whatever. But, I mean, it's just so goddamn annoying to have to wait 4 months to see the Universal title defended.
And people were pissed
have
when
them
The
be
Rock
like
had the title.
5-minute matches.
Yeah, and like people were pissed when The Rock had the title for what, 2 months?
Yeah.
And he brought it via satellite. At least he showed up in some way.
Yeah.
You know, and Brock Lesnar just walks in and out, doesn't do shit.
And
for
even
2 months
when
and kills somebody.
When somebody does show up for Lesnar, it's Paul Heyman, usually without the title.
Yep, and then.
And as much as I respect Paul Heyman, like that doesn't do it for me.
I think at this point, I would like to see Paul Heyman with Becky Lynch. I think that would be a blistering combo. Can you imagine the man?
True, but
Paul
I
Heyman?
think Becky Lynch is. Well, I mean, I was gonna say it doesn't necessarily need to be someone who's not good on the mic because CM Punk was with Heyman for a while too, and CM Punk was
CM
amazing
Punk was
on the
a
mic.
master on the microphone.
So,
probably one of the best trash talkers I've ever seen. But yeah, Brock Lesnar, I think he needs to go away. I mean, at WrestleMania, it's basically a fact that he's going to drop the title to Seth. And
he'll drop the title, but remember what happened last time he dropped the title?
Oh, God, don't remember.
Roman was champion for what, a month and a half, and then Lesnar came back and won it the next pay-per-view after Roman had to leave.
Yep. And well, here's the thing. It kind of stems to what I was saying. Brock Lesnar only does what he's told to because Vince McMahon tells him to do it.
That's the sad thing.
That's the sad part.
That is the sad thing.
And, like, it's the pure example. Like, the Royal Rumble. Finn Balor won that title that night. Do you know how insane they would have went in that baseball stadium? They would have lost their shit.
Dude,
I would have lost my shit here.
Me too. I mean, I honestly thought it was possible, and then
it was very possible. And then classic Lesnar, like John Cena, boom, and it's over.
Because what, if I remember correctly, he hit one coup de grace, went up for a second one, and then he catches him in an F5. It's like, oh, great no-sell there, Lesnar.
Like, Brock Lesnar seriously got remotely injured in that match when he accidentally smacked the edge of the table right where he had his operation for his, like, diverticulitis.
Yeah.
And, like, after that happened, like, you were like, wow, is he going to slay the beast? And, of course, Brock Lesnar squashed him in a matter of one move. But,
yeah, I know.
But, yeah, you know, it's all Vince McMahon's calling. I mean, I'm sure Lesnar has a say here and there, but it's all Vince. I'm sure Triple H looks at it and he goes, why are we hiring this guy?
Yeah. I mean, granted, like, they give him so much money, and I'm sure his presence to some people does sell a lot of tickets.
He does put asses in seats.
Yeah, but it's just...
It's far-fetched now.
Yeah.
I think Brock Lesnar's time, I think at this point, Brock Lesnar should just maybe have one last run after he takes a break. Then he should go home to Minnesota for a bit, and then be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and then have one final match at WrestleMania, whatever it is. And I think he should go away and just maybe be a manager, maybe be an on-screen personality, maybe be a GM. I just think seeing him squash future talent is the dumbest thing.
Because that's the thing, is he's been well, I mean, granted he left for like 10 years.
But he had a falling out for like
he was
8 years, something like that.
He was there from what, like 2000 to 2004 or 5, something like that.
His he left. Yeah, that reminds me of him and Goldberg at WrestleMania 20. That was their last night in the company, and man, they stunk up that joint. Yeah, that was his last night with the company till he came back for Extreme Rules. Like, I know he was Raw after Mania as a surprise in 2012.
Yeah, and then it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, because he's there, and all he does is just squash any chance of people making a name for themselves. Like
the Finn Balor thing.
Yeah.
That made Finn Balor, even though I'm sure Vince McMahon's like, well, Finn, you could have the advantage for a good chunk of the match for Brock's going to squash you in the end. But
that doesn't help at all.
Yeah, it doesn't help at all. It just makes Finn look like a half-ass wrestler, you know?
Like, it doesn't make Finn look any better or worse than, like, him getting caught off the top rope and then getting an F5 and losing is just as bad as him getting suplexed 40 times and then taking an F5 and losing.
I think at that rate, Finn Balor should have just took an F5 in the first 10 seconds and lost.
Yeah.
Because, honestly, to make that match a little better at the Rumble, maybe they could have had Finn kick out of one F5 and 2 F5s. And then he gets the third F5 and that's it. But it was just
something. It
was just the end, you know? But
like, he got one F5 and it was done.
Yeah, and he had so much momentum. And I mean...
He had a ton of momentum going into that match.
And, you know, I know this is going to sound like we're absolutely hating on Brock Lesnar. And, like, I love Brock Lesnar. I think he's a great wrestler and persona. But I think since he came back and Vince turned him into a suplex machine, which realistically should still be Kurt Angle, it's just kind of weird. And, like he was saying, you know, he squashes and ruins any opportunity that any future talent star will ever have. And he only, like, he wants to face people like Seth Rollins and stuff. Like, he tosses names out there, but then they book the match and they tell him how it's going to go. And then he squashes said wrestler and he gets $1 million in about a month. And that's it. And he goes home to Minnesota for 2 months. Never to be seen again.
The sad thing is like, think about how many amazing title matches we could have been having if somebody like Seth or Finn Balor was champion as opposed to Brock Lesnar.
Yep. And I mean, another good example is I got to see this in person. So, Dean versus Lesnar WrestleMania 32. I thought it was a pretty good match, but like Finn Balor, like Finn Balor, Dean Ambrose took one F5 and that was it. Even though it was on chairs, they should have had him kick out of that because leading up to that, you had all the hardcore icons giving him new weapons. And I thought the best line ever was when he smacked the bat off the stairs and goes, "Batter up, bitch!" And he just goes in the ring and he got assaulted.
That was like...
He took 12 suplexes that night.
The like peak of Ambrose Asylum, right?
Yeah, that was like the time where they could have made him a wicked wrestler in the hardcore end. They did moderately okay, but once again, they had Brock Lesnar.
The sad thing is like...
in the end.
They have Lesnar bury people so bad that it just stops any momentum they have.
Yep. There's been quite a few people.
Because
like
even like once someone gets buried by Lesnar, they just like
they fade into oblivion essentially in Vince McMahon's eyes.
Yeah, because not only does it like extinguish their flames just from a momentum point of view from the fans, but then Vince is also just like, okay, you just got buried by Lesnar, so like you can't do anything cool for like at least 3 or
4 months. And I could see why Triple H and Vince McMahon butt heads continually over creative control, because Vince McMahon is back in the like the whole like fucking early 90s concept with the PG era, and Triple H is like at the Ruthless Aggression era where it's like, okay, new time, new people, new storylines, keep the old people, but don't make them as important as they once were because it's not their time. Yeah.
Like the thing with NXT is like, granted, I only watch the takeovers, but
you gotta admit it's a lot more entertaining than any pay-per-view besides WrestleMania.
It definitely is. Like
so a lot of times it's better than WrestleMania.
the stories are way more complex, and they're not just like, oh, I'm mad at you, and you're mad at me, so we'll fight.
You took my title. It's time to fight.
But like, you always see them do crazy shit. Like, I mean, not even just like the moves they do, but like
Ricochet's a good example of that.
Ricochet is absolutely incredible.
I hope to God they don't dub him down. I'll be so pissed.
God.
I will never forgive them if they dub him down.
But what was I gonna say? Yeah, but like you always see them do stuff like using like ripping up the pads at ringside and using the concrete. Like I can't remember the last time I saw that on the main roster.
And when it happens, they do a move that doesn't even hurt at all.
Yeah.
Like NXT, you'll see Ricochet like run at somebody that's on the top rope, and he'll jump over the top rope and hurricane them onto the floor. It is the craziest fucking shit I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And you know, you'll see them do like Johnny Gargano versus Ciampa. They absolutely killed each other for about a year and a half. And it came to the point where they got seriously injured doing some of the stuff they were doing. Like, man, they were doing like neck breakers on the steel stairs. They were like throwing each other off the stage.
Those matches were so fucking good, though.
Yeah, like watching. Here's the interesting part, and it kind of goes a perspective of who's booking the show. Triple H books NXT. NXT reminds you very much of the Ruthless Aggression era, practically.
Yep.
Vince McMahon books the main roster. Dub the hell down to the point where it's completely filtered. I mean, you can't even accidentally bleed on Vince McMahon's show. On NXT, you bleed. Fuck it, it's whatever. Make the best out of it, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Vince McMahon goes, yo, you bled in that match. You owe me $20,000. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So,
I think one
crazy.
of the only times they ever, like, that I can think of that they actually ever, like, not let somebody bleed, but the only time that I can think of that, at least that I read, that someone wasn't punished for bleeding was when, oddly enough, at SummerSlam 2016, the one we went to, when Orton got the absolute fucking shit beat by Lesnar, and he was just in a fucking pool of blood at the end of the night.
And it was so bad that Chris Jericho was like literally almost attacked Brock Lesnar as soon as he walked through the curtain. But then Randy Orton's like, nah, it's all cool, man. I told him just to like bust me wide open like a UFC match. And then Vince McMahon was like, that was pretty cool. But then, yeah.
It's only because Lesnar did it.
Only because Lesnar did
else did it.
I can't. And
but yeah, that's why they gave
it's
Orton a title run after that. I remember because
he took that like a fucking champ. You know, if Randy Orton said, "Yo, I want to win the title and I want to hold it for a year," I'd be like, "Yo, man, you got it."
Honestly,
you took that fucking elbow and got split the fuck open immediately. I haven't seen that since, ironically, Brock Lesnar and John Cena, 2012.
Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, I think we did a pretty good guesstimate of how we feel about the product compared to what it could be. But hey, 2019 is going to be a good year. I could definitely see the cornerstone changing. When does SmackDown go over to Fox? I believe it's in the fall.
I was going to say, I think it's fall 2019.
So I have a feeling, I have a feeling WrestleMania 35 will be a top tier WrestleMania because it'll change the tide. On paper, it looks like it will. I really hope it does, especially because we're going to see it live.
Yeah.
But anything realistically could happen between now and WrestleMania, which is strange, but in Vince McMahon's world, it doesn't solidify till the show starts.
Hang on, let me. I want to see how the calendar works out for that. Because I think. All right, so.
All I know is I'm taking my vacation that week, and it is going to be sweet between that and New York shows with art. I cannot fucking wait.
The HPJP show before WrestleMania will be March 30th. So I'm hoping that the whole card will be confirmed by then.
If it's not confirmed, we'll know by that time, guaranteed. But, I mean, we already know a good chunk of the card right now. I'm pretty sure we know like 75% of the card. The Undertaker's still up in the air. I think he'll perform. I think he'll face Finn Balor. Possibly, but Finn has the title.
Yeah, that's
so I really don't know.
It's like
you know what?
My name is Finn Balor, and I'm holding an open challenge for the Intercontinental title. So out comes the Undertaker. It's like, all right.
I think I would shit just a little bit.
It's like, okay, not sure how this makes sense, but all right. I wouldn't even complain. There would still be a dope ass fucking match.
You know what match I want to see at WrestleMania? I know this might seem far-fetched, but it makes a lot of sense to people who are actually very, very passionate about wrestling like I am. Imagine The Undertaker versus Alistair Black at WrestleMania.
Dude,
Tell me
so
that would
fucking
not
good.
be insane, right? Oh my God, wow, that'd be insane.
I think
Oh.
Undertaker versus like a lot of like some of the like the
NXT
younger guys
guys
would be awesome. Like
I think, oh my God.
against Seth Rollins would be awesome. Even
AJ
AJ Styles would be
would be-
amazing. Balor, Alistair Black, Johnny Gargano.
I feel like since this is going to be the end, this is going to be the last match that he ever has in a WWE ring. I don't know about the independent circuit, but I
That's
think
so sad, dude.
this is going to be it. If it's not John Cena, if it's not Finn Balor, I would personally like to see a new guy and have him put him over. And I think that new guy is Alistair Black. I really think that can work.
Can you imagine like how much that would launch somebody's career?
Yeah, I mean, Undertaker is
going
the
over.
locker room leader, and he's the guy that passes the torch. I seriously think that it should be someone who is an NXT era person.
Just
I
as
think
long
it
as it's
should
not
be.
Roman Reigns, it will launch their career, I would presume.
Dude, Roman Reigns' career like descended after that match. It's so sad because
I mean,
they
his
made
status with the fans descended.
Yeah, his career. Honestly, it's the match that nobody
Vince,
will ever.
Vince wanted his
Vince.
career to keep going on.
Once again, Vince McMahon fucked up history. It could have easily been a lot of other people when he pulled the trigger on Roman Reigns. The thing that's funny is, originally that was going to be a normal match. They made it no DQ, and yet there were still so many botches, and The Undertaker was just in so much pain, and Roman
Yeah.
Reigns had no idea what the fuck to do. It was just a disaster. I mean, for real.
I mean,
Shane McMahon did a way better job than Roman probably ever could facing The Undertaker.
well, the sad thing is like,
That's the sad part.
with how old Taker is now, it's hard for someone that's not known for like doing a ton of high energy stuff to carry the match, and that's I think the problem with both the Reigns match and the Lesnar match.
Yeah, because like Shane
Taker.
McMahon's like a high flyer and doesn't give
Yeah.
a fuck what happens.
Even
And,
though
I mean,
he's
he'll kill
old,
himself.
like he's still
He's
high energy,
still-
and he just does crazy spots, which is what helped that match as well.
Shane McMahon carried that fucking match.
Yeah.
And here's the weird part. Undertaker didn't want to lose that match, so they built the storyline like Shane McMahon won the match. I mean, in my mind, Shane McMahon won that match. I mean, The Undertaker just sat there and tombstoned him after that was over, after he jumped off the cell.
Yeah.
So, it's very strange. Well, now Taker has the new hip and everything.
Yeah.
And I know John Cena got absolutely fucking murdered. That was probably one of the most disappointing WrestleMania feuds I've ever seen in my life.
I mean,
John Cena did so well at trash talking, and the Undertaker.
the thing
whooped his
is,
ass
the
in 2
build
minutes.
up was interesting, I guess. I mean, it did suck to only see Taker at Mania.
And
But if they would have done that, and then if they would have had like a fucking like 30-minute war or some shit after that, it would have been so awesome.
And like
But
the thing that didn't make sense to me was John Cena was building the feud like he was gonna face the American badass Undertaker, and then you get
Yeah,
not
that's
only the Phenom Undertaker, but it doesn't make any sense, and then he kills him in 2 minutes. He absolutely
Yeah.
destroyed. I have never seen John Cena get that squashed.
ever.
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 Ever. I mean, ever. Yeah. Even when he was the prototype, he still did not get squashed that fast. That was insane.
Yeah, but
But yeah, that's probably I think all we'll touch on with wrestling. I mean, we could talk about wrestling for like hours and hours, so you'll be getting a lot more of this. Trust me on that.
yeah, it kind of slowly dwindled off from what we started with, but it was a nice conversation. But
Good. And then there's the other.
well, actually, before we get off of the wrestling, I just want to say that yeah, the next episode of the HPJ or not the next episode. 2 episodes of the HPJP show from now, which will come out on the 30th of March, will hopefully be, or well, part of it will be our WrestleMania predictions. But I'm just excited for Mania, man. I'm gonna be vlogging it. I'm sure you guys will see it at some point, hopefully within like the week after Mania.
You'll be vlogging while my girlfriend is vlogging, while you're vlogging each other vlogging, and then me and Anthony will just be standing there like, "We're at the Mania."
It's definitely gonna be.
We're getting a picture with the stage.
Oh hell yeah! It's definitely gonna be a very fun fun experience. It's my first Mania. It's
so good.
Bree's first Mania. It's your what? Third Mania? Fourth Mania?
Third, and Anthony's third too, because
Nice.
Anthony went to 28. Yep,
Nice.
gonna be fun.
I'm excited, but guys, let's move on to the next topic, which is actually a video game based topic.
And it is pretty groundbreaking, but it's something that many people have known of. It's just, did it exist?
And normally we would, save our video game stuff for Pizza and Pixels, but this is, of course, like we said, bringing random topics of discussion
This
for
is
your
where we
amusement.
shoot the shit about anything.
So we are going to talk about video games a little bit here when just whenever we want, but
Damn right.
most of the time we'll try to keep all the video game stuff on Pizza and Pixels.
Yeah.
This was a big enough news story for us that we figured we should do it this week and not have to wait until next week when another episode of Pizza and Pixels comes out.
Ironically, it just broke from Peggy,
Yeah.
who is a European ratings. I don't even know how the hell it even happened, but a European ratings company.
Company, board, whatever.
Board, yeah.
It's essentially, if you guys don't know, if you live outside of Europe, it's like in America, you have the ESRB. They rate games, T for teen, E for everyone, M for mature.
They'll just rate it Peggy 18,
Yeah, Peggy is
16
like
plus, Peggy 21 plus. That's their
so whatever their
versions.
age is. So essentially, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, the last year there were rumors swirling. Amazon listings from Amazon from like different countries, like Amazon France or something like that.
Yep.
Had a listing for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. It was originally leaked like last March or last February.
Yep.
It was originally, when it leaked, it had some kind of like April 31st release date or something like that, but it was just a placeholder.
I was pretty excited when I saw that.
And
I like that campaign.
This got a ton of people hyped in the Call of Duty community, as you can imagine.
It caught the world on fire, essentially.
A ton of people got their start on Call of Duty with Modern Warfare 2. I mean, after the huge success of Modern Warfare and then the follow-up of World at War.
Oh, World at War, I need that rematch.
Rolling into Modern Warfare 2, I mean, everything was spinning in high gear for Call of Duty and for Modern Warfare. But it was where I got my start with Call of Duty. So I had fond memories of it. But people are like, oh, hell yeah, we're getting Modern Warfare 2 Remastered.
But there's
And
a
then
catch.
It came out a little bit later. Rumors, I think at this point, the rumored release date had been pushed back.
I think it was October or something before the game that year.
I think the last time I remember hearing anything about a release date was last June.
Something like that.
And then along with that updated release date thing, they said that it would not.
Was in it too.
Yeah, but they also found out, or whatever, it was leaked, whatever, that the game would not launch with multiplayer and that it would be campaign only. And this got a lot of people angry. Personally, as much as I would love to play Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer once again,
We already know.
I already know, just based on Modern Warfare Remastered, that it would start off amazing, and then, well, I mean, Modern Warfare Remastered had its own problems at the start. That even at the start, it wasn't that great.
I just gave up on remastered multiplayers.
Once they finally fixed the problems, was like maybe we had a week of awesome Call of Duty 4 nostalgia, and then they just demolished it. Loot boxes, microtransactions all over the place.
Weapons you can only get from paying money
Yeah.
for. It was
Weapons in the supply drops.
Weapons that weren't even in Modern Warfare,
yeah.
or even associated with it, were in this game.
Then there was that they were bringing back the variety map pack from COD 4 and charging $5 more for it on PS4 than it cost on PS3 and 360.
Which is so stupid.
Which pissed even more people off.
They should have just had them in the game. Those maps.
They should have just patched. Years. They should have just patched them into the game for free.
Because
if you guys don't remember, I get off into tangents all the time, so excuse my.
Well, it was essentially a PR disaster.
The game originally, when it was announced, of course it was a PR disaster because you had to buy it with Infinite Warfare, yada, yada, yada.
Oh, God, that game.
They announced it. Originally, there was only going to be 10 of the 16 multiplayer maps in the game at launch. People got pissed. They were like, no, we want all 16. And finally, as we get closer to launch, they're like, okay, you'll get the other 6 that were in the game, but they won't come until an update in December. People were like, okay, that's at least better. And then once we get those 6 maps for free in December, then they're like, okay, variety map pack, $5 extra. So $15 total, which was $5 more than it was when it came out in 2008 or 2007.
I
Whatever
actually
the heck year it was.
remember seeing that on the store when it dropped, because I was looking for another game at the time, and I go on the store, and I see Modern Warfare 4 Variety Map Pack. I'm like, oh, cool. Here, I'm going to click on it for nostalgia just to see the video and how they look now. And then I looked, and it loaded, and I saw $14.99, and I just sat there. I was like... I'm like... And then all of a sudden, I'm like, no. Let me just refresh that page. And then it said $14.99. I'm like... What the hell? And then I think they tried justifying the extra $5 because you got credit and COD points or something.
Yeah, I think you got
the dumbest ration I've ever seen.
I think you got like $5
$5 worth of COD points
or some stupid shit.
I sat there and I'm like, this is why I don't even give a flying fuck about this multiplayer.
Yeah.
And now the Modern Warfare 2 thing came around and people are getting mad, but these same people didn't learn the lesson from Modern Warfare 1 multiplayer. And I don't understand.
That's the sad thing. I mean,
That's
some
the sad part. People are just dumb.
Some people still did enjoy Modern Warfare Remastered, even after adding, all the loot boxes and everything. Which, I mean, to each their own. But
it was something interesting, but they took it out of control. But that's Activision for you.
Yeah, true.
That's just Activision.
But for me, it just was too much. It took away from the original feeling of the game, and so. People were pissed that it's only going to be, that it would be campaign only. Then rumors started swirling again that it would then be packed in Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, both campaigns remastered, in a bundle.
And then
it just fell off the face of the earth.
And is this the rumor? Oh, and then, I mean, it's no surprise the next Call of Duty is probably Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how to feel, but...
It fell off the face of the earth around, rumors fell off the face of the earth about Modern Warfare 2 Remastered at about May last year. And then, now, here we are, a couple of days ago, like we were saying, Peggy, the ratings board in Europe, has a listing. I don't know if it's still there. It's probably not. But they had a listing on their site for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered. They have a full description of what the game is, what the rating is based on, how they got to the rating. So if they got, if they were able to play the game enough to be like, okay, here, to have a full description of the campaign and to be able to be like, okay, here, excessive violence, gun violence, all these things that they list out for why
references and tobacco references, all that crap.
For why the
ratings
game got that rating, then I'd say that the game is close enough to release. It's in a playable state. So I mean,
yep. So I'm very excited because I love the campaign, and I'm kind of glad that Spec Ops isn't in because the last tier of Spec Ops in that game was just a pain in the ass, and oh man, I just seeing it there with the campaign only. I mean, obviously, trophy hunters are going to say, yo, this is an easy plat. Personally, I want to just play it again because that campaign was really good.
I'd say it's my second favorite COD campaign behind Black Ops.
I kind of think they're onto something. I think they learned their lesson that a remastered multiplayer is the worst idea you could ever do.
I mean, I'm sure they made money off of it.
I'm sure they made money initially, but the backlash it caused was just... No, yeah. And plus they have to invest in the servers and invest in devs to work on the online things. But...
Well, I mean, especially with Activision having laid off 800 employees,
and they just laid off people, and
they're definitely trying to save as much money as they can.
And the thing is, you have other studios make these remasters, and then they play nothing like the original game. Like Modern Warfare 1, it looked like Modern Warfare, but it didn't play like it because they rebuilt it on a new engine. So,
well, not a new engine, an updated
engine.
But
yeah, so when they get to... I mean, we all know for sure that World at War will be remastered someday in the very future, but I hope when they do that, they don't put multiplayer, even though for example, the World at War multiplayer, to me, is probably the best multiplayer I've ever experienced because of how grotesque it was, and it was just absolute warfare. It really was. People's limbs blowing off, you name it, and... Yeah, even then, I think I'd take a rain check and I would just pay for the campaign. Because the campaigns are all people remotely care about on remasters. I mean, the multiplayer's cool, but it's not the same.
Yeah, I mean, It's cool that it's an option, but
Yeah, it's just like the thing I don't get is when they put it out, but then you have a new Call of Duty game. So who the hell is going to sit on a remaster multiplayer from the past?
that's the thing
when
too.
you can play
Is
a
like
new game?
it just
makes no
further
sense.
dilutes the player count, and that was.
Yeah, it's atrocious.
I understand it was like probably a bunch of cost benefit analysis that
It's not worth their money to do it.
that went into the original idea of Modern Warfare Remastered, but I'm sure once they, I mean, I'm sure they were probably working on it. But once they realized that, like, oh, people don't want another future Call of Duty,
Yep.
we need to do something to get this game to sell.
I think, and that's the only reason why.
But at the same time, that also diluted the player base so badly from Infinite Warfare because
90% of players were on.
I'd say a majority of people that bought it for Modern Warfare Remastered. So then the player count on Infinite Warfare was pretty low, as far as I remember.
And,
I barely played it, but
now they're running into a problem because it's the free game of the month next month for PS4. So now people are even more pissed because they paid for a shitty game of Infinite Warfare
yeah,
to get that exclusively to now be free. And I don't understand. Being it separate was enough, but free, people are just pissed.
I'm sure the reason they're doing it free now is because I'll bet you any money
it's hyping Modern Warfare 2 Remastered.
Yeah, because I'm sure at some point in March they'll tease Modern Warfare 4 or even announce it straight out and be like, oh, pre-order Modern Warfare 4 and get Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered. Or whatever.
Yeah, it's probably going to happen.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, the cool part
or they'll sell it separately, but whichever.
Yeah, and the cool part was if you got that bundle, you got to play the campaign for Modern Warfare, a week before launch?
I think it was a month early.
Or a month early? So
I remember I had the game platinum before the multiplayer was even available.
All I know is Mile High Club on veteran difficulty.
Oh my God,
on this remaster, it's the most ball-busting thing I've ever seen.
It's so difficult, dude.
Wish me luck. That's the only trophy I have left.
Godspeed, dude. It's so difficult.
I was so close. And then some random guy just clipped me through a wall, and I'm like, damn it.
Yeah.
Yep. So, that's kind of how it goes. I just hope from this point on, they just put the time into the campaign. The main point of
the Modern Warfare Remastered campaign was amazing. I mean,
exactly.
If you guys have PlayStation Plus and haven't played Modern Warfare Remastered,
please go check it out.
Go play it just for the campaign. I mean, you can check out multiplayer if you want, obviously, but
please, if you
definitely
check it out,
the campaign.
If you check it out, though, it's going to be like noob season during Christmas. It's going to be pretty...
That's true, actually.
It's going to be just like noob season at Christmas. And, but definitely check out the campaign. You will not be sorry, but it plays a little bit differently than you're probably used to. Yeah. I know that's how I felt when I started playing it.
It feels definitely newer. Like, it's on the newer Call of Duty engine. So it does feel different from COD 4, but it's still the classic campaign you know and love, so...
Exactamundo, so... That's the cool part. So we'll see where it goes in the future.
We'll see where it goes, but I'm kind of glad that they're at least sticking to just campaign only, because all it's going to do if they release them with multiplayer is, one, they're just going to put a bunch of senseless microtransactions, and two, it's just going to dilute the player base even further.
And three, it's going to ruin the game's lasting appeal.
Well, that's true too.
It's just not going to be the same.
Because, I mean, the original COD 4, people still choose to play that game over all the other Call of Duties. And Modern Warfare Remastered, like, nobody cares about. And it's been a year and a half.
The cool part was Modern Warfare had such a huge impact because for the first time they got off of the like pure Quake engine that they used previously. And they started building their own engine off of what they had to make a new experience.
Well, it also
made it to World at War.
Yeah, well, it also helped that was also the first Call of Duty that was like a modern
shooter. It was a modern shooter.
After like 3 mainline World War II games, but they also had the spin-offs and all this other whatever.
Yeah, so it's definitely interesting. So that's why people love that game and World at War. Honestly, when they get remastered, well, we already have Modern Warfare, obviously, but when World at War gets remastered, I think it'd be pretty cool if they put a double header disc together, like 2 discs in one pack that had Modern Warfare and World at War. Because essentially they were built on the same engine, and they had the same impact in their own respective eras.
It kind of wouldn't surprise me if something similar to that, if they did like I don't know, some kind of weird combo. I'm sure they'll do it. But eventually, once I'm assuming they're also going to do a Modern Warfare 3 remaster at some point. I'm sure there'll be a disc that is just the 3 campaigns on one disc remastered.
Yep.
Which would be cool to have, but I'd probably have them all 3 games already. I already have Modern Warfare Remastered, so.
You know what I really can't wait for?
What's that?
Black Ops 1 Remastered.
For something like that...
Yeah. That'd be something.
They better put zombies in.
They definitely will. I'm sure World at War Remastered is going to have, the main ones on disc. I don't think Treyarch would dick people over. Yeah, you got to pay an extra $20
Well, to be fair, that's not really Treyarch's decision, because I'm sure they're not
yeah, that's Activision. Yeah.
I'm sure that, well, first of all, I'm sure they're not going to make those. They're going to be focused on whatever Black Ops 5 or whatever the fuck the next Treyarch game is.
Man, they need to stop making Black Ops games.
World at War 2.
They need to seriously make World at War 2 and 3. I think that could be interesting in different eras, because it's World at War. It doesn't have to be World War 2. Could be Vietnam. Could be Iraq. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, they could do a lot more, but seeing Black Ops 5, Black Ops 6... Honestly, Black Ops 4 should not have happened. It should have been some other game. But we got it anyway, because Activision loves the money, and it's still undersold in their eyes for some reason.
Yeah, I can't imagine what the case for Black Ops 5 or 6 would look like, since they've been doing Roman numerals, but they didn't do 4 right, so it's just 4. Technically, it's correct you can still do 4 slashes, but IV I think would have looked cooler, to be honest with you.
When they make Black Ops 5, because there's going to be a Black Ops 5.
If it's 5
slashes, I will just be like, wow, they could just put it in the middle.
The only way I think people would accept it, which it wouldn't even make any sense for the actual canon of the Black Ops series, but if it was the round 5 thing, you know what I mean, like in Zombies.
Oh my god!
Like the blood splatter 5, you know what I mean? But even still, it wouldn't really make any sense unless it was
I think what they should
only a zombies game.
I think what they should do is when they get there, they should have the color of Black Ops, that orange color, and they should have a 5, but have it bleed, have the orange color bleed in and out of the 5 numeral. I think that'd be cool. Watch.
That'd be cool.
Black Ops 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh god. But yeah,
just Black Ops and the number 5.
And the number 5. And then underneath it'll just say, "We hardly tried." Yeah, some interesting topics though, nonetheless.
Yeah, I don't know. I think as much as I love Black Ops, mostly 1 and 2,
it needs to stop.
3 was
3 was, they should have ended it. 3 should have been the end, because they didn't even reference Black Ops 1 and 2 besides Raw Menendez.
But what the sad thing is somehow, even though Black Ops 4 doesn't even have a technical real campaign,
I don't want to talk about it.
That specialist mode that really is just a bunch of random matches of multiplayer against bots with cutscenes in between, somehow references Black Ops 1 and 2 more than Black Ops 3 did. And that doesn't even make any goddamn sense to me, because Black Ops 3 had a full 10-hour campaign.
And literally it was literally 10 hours of hot garbage, and it had Elliot from Law and Order SVU, and I was crushed. I only played the campaign for him. Very interesting story with him, but so I think personally though, 5 and 6, they need to go back to the origins, because they cannot do another specialist thing. No.
as much as people are Call of Duty, don't plays the campaign. People clearly play the campaign 1. 2, I mean, I don't know. Sure, I'm sure Blackout probably makes them more money, and they just spend less money developing it. I'm sure, but
honestly, Blackout mode, in my eyes, is a complete failure. It's a waste of their time and money. I think people just play it because they have to. Other than that, there's nothing to play the game with.
There's no real way to gauge how much money it makes them either, though. Yeah, I'm sure
exactly.
I'm sure they have stats, but just based on what we know, there's no way to know if it's a success or not. I'm sure you can see player numbers and stuff, which I'm sure there's a lot of players on there. But
then again, it's their only option. If you're sick of the multiplayer, I guess I'll do Blackout.
As much as I love multiplayer, I got sick of it pretty quick.
And then zombies over there, Jason Blundell's like blowing his load over everything, and it's amazing. But even then, there's still faults there, not major ones, but you can see.
I'm sure we'll get into.
We'll get into that another time.
At a different time. But
definitely. But for now, hey, the Modern Warfare 2 remaster, I can't wait. Campaign.
Yep. I'm excited though. I love that campaign.
I'm sure it's gonna be only like $30. I pay $30 for the campaign. I pay half price for that. Campaign was everything in that game.
I would, but I could see them.
They'll probably say $40.
I don't think they can justify that because that's what they sold Modern Warfare Remastered at.
I know. Oh yeah. I think actually
I'd say 20 would be a good price.
Wasn't the rumor price $24.99? There when that Amazon thing went up, $24.99.
I think that's what it was, but I think that was also in pounds. That was
in pounds, so probably $30.
Yeah,
because about $5 difference. Yeah, $30 probably.
I'd say anywhere between 20 and 30. I would rather 20, but I think they'll probably settle with 30. I don't know.
Should be a very interesting month with news.
Yeah, we'll see what happens from there. But
we'll keep you covered on that one, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm excited. It was my first. Well, that was the first Call of Duty campaign I played because Modern Warfare 2 was the first Call of Duty I played. Then I went back and played COD 4, and then I didn't own World at War until I bought it on PC. But yeah, so Modern Warfare 2 started my Call of Duty career, and I still, unfortunately, fall into the trap of buying Call of Duty every year. But
you're not alone.
I really, really should have skipped out on at least Infinite Warfare and Advanced Warfare. But
I am so glad I got it. Well, let's be real. I mean, I got Advanced Warfare for a grand total of $10. I couldn't pass that up, and we game shared at that time, so I got the content, the season pass DLC content.
Honestly, the sad part is like, to me, that game isn't even worth the $10 that you spent on it.
I got my sick kicks.
The campaign was decent. I mean, at the time, Kevin Spacey. It was cool that Kevin Spacey was in the campaign. Now, looking back on it, not that cool. Not that cool anymore. But
and they modulated his voice.
Oh, yeah, they did do
I
that.
guess it's safe to say we will never get an Advanced Warfare 2.
Nor
does anybody want it. And I skipped on Infinite Warfare, and that was probably the greatest decision I ever made in Call of Duty history.
100% it was.
But yeah, fun times.
Yeah, but with that being said, guys, we're excited for Modern Warfare 2 Remastered, the campaign, of course. If you guys are excited as well, let us know down in the comments below. But with that being said, guys, this has been episode 3 of the HPJP show. And of course, this is the show where JP and I bring random topics of discussion for your amusement. And if you like that, you can catch the video version of it at youtube.com/HexxedPhenom. Or if you want to catch the MP3 version of it, you can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, really any podcast service of your choosing. With that being said, guys, until next time, have a phenomenal day.